Hi, I'm Peggy, the Amputee Mommy.
And I'm Dave, the Bionic Blogger.
And this is AMP, the podcast for people with limb loss. Although this time, we are a vlog.
Yes. What does vlog mean?
A vlog is a video blog.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. This is horrifying, actually, to see ourselves and talk. This is much easier when we just do it over the phone between two states.
So we don't normally get to see each other that often. So when we both knew that we were going to be at the AOPA conference in Boston, I came up with the idea of, hey, let's do this in Boston and let's do a video with it.
Yes.
So for good or for bad, here we are.
Yes, and that is Boston behind us, actually.
He has a much better view in his room. I'm a peon, but he has the double room, so that's why we're in his room.
Let's be clear, I didn't select the room. I didn't pay for the room myself. I'm on a board, and
he has
the board gets a block of rooms, and
he has a nicer room, so we're in his room. So
recording this vlog.
We're recording the vlog.
What are we talking about today, Peggy?
So we were going to talk about the Paralympics.
Yes.
The Paralympics kicked off on Wednesday. Has the most TV and live casting time ever, which is exciting. It's movement in the right direction. Not where I would like to be.
Where do you want it? You want it NBC, tape delay, just like the regular Olympics? Is that what you're going for?
I would like honestly, I would like the regular Olympics tailed back a little bit, because I think that's a little overboard for my taste. So scale those back and then bring the Paralympics up to meet it.
Okay.
So somewhere in the middle. Not like the nonstop Olympic coverage all the time, because I kind of did miss some of my shows on NBC, but, I'd like a little bit more Paralympics on the real NBC rather than, the little affiliate NBC stations that I really only visit during the Paralympics.
I'm sure hundreds of Paralympic athletes who've slaved away for years, trained, given up, countless hours of their lives training, will be happy to sacrifice potential airtime. So make sure you don't miss a few shows on NBC.
I don't want to miss them for the Paralympics. I want to miss them for the regular Olympics. Because I just think it's overboard.
Those athletes won't care either.
I'm not a sports person. I'm really not. I like my few sports, and the rest of them, like diving, I don't watch diving. Diving scares the hell out of me.
Yeah?
It does.
But it's a sport. What's the Olympic sport? What Olympic sport do you think isn't actually a real sport?
Curling.
Curling.
I think I could be good at curling, though.
Yeah?
The little broom.
So any sport you and I could be good at,
I
not a real Olympic sport?
I have a lot of experience with a broom.
Yeah.
I think I could take it all the way.
Yeah. Don't tell any Canadians this. They'll take umbrage with you.
What summer sport? What summer sport could I do? I always thought that if I had a bow and arrow and some targets, I think I could be good at that.
Yeah, that's a real sport.
That is a real sport. It's not really a real sport, but it's a sport.
I don't know. You just acknowledged that it was real, and then you said it's not really real. I don't know what that means.
It's an acknowledged sport. They say it's a sport. So I'm sure
they say lots of things are sports.
Exactly. See my point?
We're actually not really talking about the Paralympic sports events per se, though, today, are we?
We should be.
Well, okay.
Okay, so this is why we don't get together that often.
We clearly need to plan better.
So anyway, curling,
why don't you decide what the topic is, and then we should probably talk about it.
Curling, not a sport, but I would be good at it. Archery is kind of a sport. Again, I think I could be good at it if I ever tried it.
I could be an excellent target in archery.
You think so?
Okay, rounder and rounder the older I get.
No comment. So am I. It's all right. Okay, so we're back to the Paralympics. Coverage is increasing, which is a good thing. Agreed. Yes. Did you watch the Paralympic opening ceremonies?
I did not have the opportunity to, unfortunately, no.
Okay, but by comparison, did you watch the Olympic opening ceremonies?
I did not, no.
Okay. I did not watch the Olympic ceremonies, but I did watch the Paralympic ceremonies. Because I know people in the Paralympics.
Ergo, the Paralympics are more important.
For me, they are. I'm more personally invested in them because I have specific people that I know are there. So therefore, I'm vicariously living an Olympic dream.
Go Scout Bassett.
Go Scout! Exactly.
Yeah.
How cool is she?
She's fast.
I know. So coverage not where it should be, going better. Do you think that do you think the community is filled with Paralympic spirit?
That's a really interesting question.
Yes, it is.
I think that the Paralympics do generate a lot of excitement, appropriately, particularly within the amputee community. I think that does happen.
Do you think it's excitement because it's a sport, or excitement because they're amputees that are being recognized for athletic endeavor?
I don't know if it's really either. I think that my impression has always been that the Paralympics, at least for me, when I think about them, is it's watching people who wear the same kinds of prosthetic devices or who don't wear prosthetic devices at all, but who live with limb loss and live with other disabilities, and watching them do really extraordinary things with or without prosthetics. And I think that that's the piece of it that I think is perhaps most interesting, and that's where there's maybe that feeling of connection.
The comeback stories on the Paralympics are far superior to the comeback stories on the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, regular Olympics, you had a tough childhood, and someone in your family was sick, or you were sick, and,
whatever.
Essentially, in other words, you've lived a life like every other human being, as opposed to, oh yeah, I had a limb cut off.
Mm-hmm. Or a scout who was burned in an orphanage and didn't look in the mirror until she was 7.
Yes.
Think about that.
It's extraordinary.
And now she's running in Rio. Go Scout.
Go Scout.
Yay. So,
we didn't make signs. We should have made Scout signs for this.
Or those heads on a stick.
Yeah, head on a stick.
That would be cool. Yeah. Maybe next time. In 4 years, when she does it again, we'll have
Scout is not branding herself well enough. We don't have Scout heads and sticks. Scout.
I'll make one, and we'll put it on the bottom of the leg, so that people can maybe print it out and blow it up and have Scout on a stick.
I can only imagine what Miss Bassett's reaction to that will be.
She will be delighted to be part of AMP.
Do you think there are any amputees for whom the Paralympics is actually some kind of turnoff?
Yes.
Or a disconnect?
Yes. I think that that's not explored or acknowledged enough. That there is a group of individuals who I think become disenfranchised every 2 years when the Paralympics come up because they don't have the sport prostheses, because they didn't have access to the technology or to the rehabilitation or to the family structure or to any of the other assistance that the other athletes got. And let's face it, there are people who are always just going to be bitter. And I think that if you're having trouble in your adjustment, sometimes the last thing you want to see is somebody really rocking it in your situation. Also, the one thing that does annoy me about the Paralympic season is that everybody thinks that if I get a running leg, I'll be able to go fast.
The only thing separating you really from elite international status.
And I hear it all the time. Oh, if you get a cheetah leg, are you going to be running really fast? No. No.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. Or
I have one. I don't run fast.
Or why don't you get one of those legs so you can run? Do you see me? I don't run.
They see you now.
I know.
Look at that.
So they know the only running I do is when the ice cream truck is going down the street and I have to catch it.
Well, it's all about priorities.
It's all about priorities. But no, I don't run anyway, but I do think that, whenever the Paralympics come up, I do become inundated with why don't you run? Or why don't you do that? Why don't you get in the pool? And I say, were you impressed by Michael Phelps? He really kicked it in the water this year. Well, why don't you swim? You have 4 limbs. Usually shuts them.
I've never had the experience of people saying to me when the Paralympics come on, why don't you do, or you should do, or...
Really?
Yeah, I think probably because they looked at me and said, well, he's clearly not Paralympic material. But to me, there's always been sort of an interesting split, right? So I think that there's that percentage of the amputee population from the Paralympics it's really cool, and I can sort of associate myself with what those people are doing at some level.
I think it means a lot to parents. The parents of young amputees are getting a lot of inspiration and a lot of hope from the game.
Sure.
I'm really seeing that. I'm seeing wow, look at what my kid could do.
Yeah. And then I think if you went to the other end of the spectrum, particularly with older amputees, newer amputees, older amputees,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder for them if part of what they see is the functional equivalent of just looking at sort of an alien species. It's like,
Right.
how does this in any way impact me? I'm trying to figure out how to put one leg in front of the other
Or how
without
to pay
falling
for my
down,
basic
or how to
leg.
pay, how to get coverage for a walking, leg I can walk with,
Mm-hmm.
just so I can transfer or go across from my kitchen to my bathroom unassisted.
Right.
And we're looking at people who are running the 400, the 100, doing long jump and all these other events, and that really feeling like an almost in your face,
yes, I think that happens.
Gap emphasizing experience.
Yes. You're not doing this. That you're here, but look at where all of these other people are. And somehow it solidifies the feeling of failure and inadequacy.
So I wonder how much of this, we're talking about this as if the Paralympics causes this.
No, I don't think it does, but I think that it puts a spotlight on those feelings.
Yeah, and I think we may be really having sort of the inverse of the conversation we should be having. It may really be more appropriate to say that the Paralympics probably provide a fairly interesting lens to understand how different amputees view themselves and where they are in their own lives, because the Paralympics, isn't doing anything overtly beyond providing really elite disabled athletes the opportunity to perform against their peers from around the world and get recognized for doing it, which is a laudatory thing, and really celebrating, just as the Olympics do, the ability of humans to accomplish remarkable things.
Exactly.
That's all they're doing. And when you and I start talking about, well, how do you think that makes amputees feel? That isn't about the Paralympics.
No.
What we're really talking about is there are people in the amputee community who, because they're individuals, react to that type of event in individual ways. I think the interesting component of that, I guess, is at some level what you're really talking about, I think particularly with people who may feel disenfranchised at some level or disconnected from it or actively resistant to it. A lot of it may have to do fundamentally with issues that relate to access to appropriate care,
absolutely.
that relate to their ability to be treated, from a rehab perspective by people who are highly competent and know what they're doing or not. And where you are in the United States, you may have access to more or less resources locally, and those types. I can imagine for some people those types of disparities are really upsetting.
It brings it up.
Yeah.
Especially if the wound is new.
Yeah.
But I do know that parents are really reaping a lot of hope from the games and from the coverage. Just from watching posts on social media, most of them are coming from parents of little guys who are really, really excited and are sitting down with their kids and watching the games. And I know that there was a mom whose son just had his leg amputated in the hospital, and they tuned in and watched the live stream of the Paralympic Games, see him getting chills. And it gave her hope.
Right.
It gave her hope that, okay, you lost your leg, but you can still do great things. Look at these people. Let's give it time. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
It gives people a goal, and that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, when I lost my leg, I was 27, and I very quickly got into athletics. That was really sort of my form of rehab.
You were a runner for a while.
For a while. I was never going to do anything that was a Paralympic event because I wasn't fast before I lost my leg, so I wasn't going to be any faster afterwards. But when I started running, I was doing distances at the time. Very few above-knee amputees were running distance. And so I was doing, 5Ks, and I did some 10Ks. And I will say the feeling of competing and doing stuff that I knew other people couldn't do was enormously gratifying. And as I look back on it, there was a lot of sort of ego and my own issues that I was probably working through that. helped me feel
I
valid.
think that, and I was speaking with somebody else about that today. I think that there's a calendar to recovery and to adjustment, and I've noticed that a lot of amputees will go from, they get their prosthesis and they learn to walk, then it's celebrated, then they go back to their life, and then it's always I'm going to pay it forward, I'm going to do something, I'm going to start an organization, I'm going to do this, and then that usually fades away, and then it goes to, I'm going to start running. How many new amputees do you know that start hitting the track and trying to train for 5Ks and 10Ks, and just to prove that they can? I did it. I did a 5K once. I finished. I have no desire to ever do it again.
Yeah, you're smart.
But I did it.
Yeah.
And I don't really know why I did it, other than I felt the need to prove to myself that I could do it. I think that's part of a recovery process.
I think you're right. I think, and obviously, when you lose your mobility, what's the most obvious way to stake a claim on your mobility?
Exactly. You go
it's
for
to
a
be
run.
mobile in a measured and timed way. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
But I don't see me running again.
No.
I really didn't enjoy
the Google animation on the Google homepage a few days ago didn't make you want to become a Paralympic athlete again.
Kind of cool.
It was really cool.
It was really cool.
For anyone who missed that, you can. I guess that link would only still be active if the animation was active, so it probably shorts out.
Yeah.
I tweeted it a few days ago, but
it was really cool. They put up what are they? Avatar? Not Avatar.
It's the Google. Had the Google logo
doodles.
for major events.
Yeah.
The Google Doodle. That's it.
Yes.
The doodle changes for holidays and famous birthdays, and when the Paralympics kicked off, they had a Paralympic doodle.
So you see, it is gaining in popularity.
Yeah.
Because it made the Google homepage.
You can't be more mainstream than Google.
Exactly. Google is really helping to push it along. So maybe someday NBC will listen and go down on one coverage and up on the other, so we can be equal.
Perhaps.
Yes. And people can stop referring to it as the fake Olympics.
Or the Special Olympics.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. That's headbangingly frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, they are special, but they're not the Special Olympics,
right.
So we're all clear.
Completely different. Completely.
Yeah. And we like the Special Olympics, too.
Love the Special Olympics.
We're not denigrating the Special Olympics.
Not at all. Not at all. But it's different.
Yes.
Different's not bad. It's just different. So that's...
Yeah.
Ideally, in Peggyland, I would just love to see just Olympics.
I think that will be a long time coming.
I know, but Peggyland takes a long time to build. But
gotta play the long game.
I am. But wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be really interesting. I think that the issue that it's already been flagged in previous Olympics, and in this one, the German long jumper, a guy named Marcus Riem, actually petitioned to participate in the quote regular Olympics as a long jumper, and he's a single below the knee amputee. And once again, just like the issues we saw in the 2012 Olympics with the sprinter, the inability to really quantify what's the quote advantage or disadvantage.
I'm okay keeping like the medal contention separate.
Yeah.
But
you just want it to be all one
thing. I want it to just be one ceremony. So when they walk in, people are it can't be too big. It's the Olympics.
Oh,
it's the Olympics. Dream big. Peggyland will have more than enough room.
Let me ask you a question.
You got it.
Mayor of Peggyland. So, you already said, you are czar. You already said that the standard Olympics, a little too much because you're missing your shows. All right? So now I'd like you to imagine that we double the number of events and the number of competitors roughly. Do you think that will get you to see your, must-see TV Thursday night any more effectively?
It would all be in the same time period. I think that some momentum is lost when you have a 3-week lull and then, hey, guess what? We're gonna have the wheelchairs now. They should be with the regular Olympics.
Yeah.
Bring them all out at one time. Have the wheelchair races. Have the runners with legs and runners with prosthetic. I bet it does. It will happen during our lifetime.
Oh, please, let's bet on that because I'm winning that bet.
No, it will during my lifetime. You're an old man, so it might not happen during yours. But during my lifetime, it's going to happen.
Yeah?
I think so.
Okay, well, don't hold your breath is all I can say.
Have it here.
There's a lot of politics around upper level athletic competition. Trust me.
I trust you, but it's gonna happen.
Okay.
It should happen. Wouldn't it be cool though?
I suppose so. I mean, I don't really, I don't have strong feelings. I don't think the Paralympics get elevated if they're with the Olympics, nor do I think
I think it equalizes the athletes. Because right now it's still Olympic athlete, Paralympic athlete. They're not on the same par.
I don't, well, so certainly from like an advertising and notoriety perspective, I think that's true. But I think that if you asked someone objectively, is, you know, the most well-known Paralympic athlete in the world, just as much of an athlete and just as amazing as Usain Bolt.
Yeah, they're going to say he's in jail.
Well, you had to go there.
I did.
I think that people would say that that athlete is a remarkable athlete, and they don't really know how to compare them to each other because they're not comparable. But I think that...
But they can't even name one.
Scott Bassett.
Exactly. But I bet if we were to go on the streets of Boston...
Yeah.
And ask just regular Bostonians, tell me, who was your favorite Paralympic athlete?
That's correct.
They're not going to be able to name one.
That's correct.
So it's not on the same level.
No, but I don't think it has to be.
I do. I want it to be. I want just the Olympics.
But I don't, even if you did it as the Olympics, I don't know that it would, I mean, let me play this logic game out with you.
Okay.
Name the greatest Olympic curler of all time.
I know they're probably Canadian.
Well, but see, here's the thing, right? Like, you only know the athletes in the events that you actually care about and want to self-select to watch and that are put in prime time.
I get that.
And so even if the Paralympics and the Olympics were merged, for the sake of argument, assume that they've been merged, I think it's highly unlikely that at 10 o'clock on Friday night and 10 o'clock on every other night of the week, which is really their primetime slot, where you're looking at Phelps and Biles, and you're talking swimming, gymnastics, and the key track and field events, that would not be where the Paralympics would be sitting. It would be off hours, and it would be on the second or third channel broadcasting the Olympics. And you'd end up in essentially the same place you are now. Would they be level in one way? Yeah, I guess, because they're there at the same time. But I don't think that it would necessarily translate into any more knowledge about the individuals than putting them on separately and broadcasting them at a national level the way it is now. I think the real, something that the real Olympics get criticized for a ton is tape delay.
Yes.
Tape delay, deprives everyone of the spontaneity of appreciating the moment, et cetera, et cetera. But my understanding is with the live stream, basically most of these events are between like 1 and 4 in the morning.
Exactly.
So no one's seeing it unless they're staying up obscenely late. And, that's a potential issue that maybe this is one of those situations where tape delay would be appropriate.
I don't know. In Peggyland, they'll be on the East Coast.
Peggyland, you're right. The Olympics will be one giant event located in Manassas, Virginia.
No, I think D.C., New York, Philadelphia corridor, you could put it all right there. There's a great train system.
Whew.
There's enough accessibility.
No security concerns at all. Hosting an international event there.
We've done it before.
Can you imagine the TSA stories you and I would have?
See, fodder for a blog.
Wow.
That
would be amazing. That would be amazing. Do you have anything else to say? Have we beaten this into the ground?
Probably, but I think we've probably entertained a few people.
Both of you. Thanks for watching.
So I guess that's it. So I'm Peggy, the Amputee Mommy.
I'm Dave, the Bionic Blogger.
And this is Amped from Boston.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Bye.